oftentimes we talk about psychological safety, we talk about trust, we talk about having the right foundations in place to build these really resilient and capable and high performing teams. But as leaders, we know that it starts with us. And sometimes this can be hard to face into because it's not easy. But today I want to talk to you about how you can do that, why integrity matters, and steps that you can take to ensure that you are a leader who creates movements and teams who want to follow you wherever the road leads. Hello and welcome to the Growth Hub. My name is Nisi Ozigbu, and this is a space where we help leaders connect who they are with how they lead. Today, I want to talk about the number one leadership quality that separates the great from the rest. And in these times when things are especially fluid, it can be very hard to find a leader who is who they say they are. And so that number one quality that I want to talk about today is integrity. I want to talk about why it's so important to have your moral compass, your principles, your values very clear within your own heart and mind. And this goes beyond having the clarity. This is about standing by them, even when things are hard, even when things are uncertain, so that your teams can trust you. Now I want to look at why character matters more than charisma and confidence and the words that you use to communicate. And this is building on that foundation of integrity. Sometimes we will look for ways to cover our gaps and where we know we should be doing better. And one of the ways that this can show up with senior leaders, I think especially, is by putting on a show. We put on the mask of charisma, of performance, of I'm really great at explaining complicated things in simple ways. But if that's all you do, and then when the going gets tough, people show that you are not able to follow through with those promises, all it does is erode the trust, whether it was a lot of trust or a very little amount of trust that people had within us. It's really important that our words carry weight. And the best way for our words to carry weight is by following through with action. So let's look at this with a practical example now. So say, for example, you are a leader who is championing a one-team methodology. You're working in a global, complex organization. You're going through a lot of mergers and acquisitions at the moment. And you're saying to your team, I know we've got all these changes going on. You might be doing an ERP implementation, so I know that the way we're working, the way that we communicate with different teams, the roles and responsibilities that we have are going to evolve, but I'm really committed to us having one global team because it's going to give us better data and insights. It's going to mean that we are able to act on areas of improvement with not just our insights, but tapping into global capabilities and thinking. And ultimately, I know it's going to help us to serve our clients more efficiently. But then as a leader, you only attend meetings where you are the chair and you're only involved in initiatives that are spearheaded by you. You do nothing to show that you are supporting your other leaders globally. When there are other initiatives globally, you don't champion them, you're not explaining them to your team, you are not role modeling the behavior, kind of that one team mindset in the way that you interact. So therefore you're saying one thing but you're doing another thing. And the easiest way to know if you are there is if nothing's changed. If you've said that, as an organization, I know that a number of silos have evolved, or the silos might be there because you were literally two organizations before, but now you've merged, or now you're doing your ERP implementation and nothing has changed in your routine. The way that you handle meetings, the way that you cascade information, the way that you interact with your peers, and nothing has changed. I guarantee you there's a gap between what you are saying and what you are doing. So the lived experience of you and the people watching you should evolve to match your prevailing narrative. And if it doesn't, that's when we see that charisma just simply doesn't carry weight. So now let's assume that your actions match your words. The next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are using your words powerfully and you're not kind of cliche and throwaway. And when I talk about using your words, there's so many ways that leaders can use their words. And actually the way that leaders use their words is evolving. So there are a number of ways that you can use your words. And I want to talk about the different forums and the different opportunities you should be seizing to tell your story. Bear in mind, this is built upon the foundation of your actions matching your words. So, number one is you should be present in kind of unofficial spaces. If the only time that people hear from you is in all staff meetings, official communications, we all know that what you are saying is heavily sanitized. We know that we're not really getting the real you. And people, as much as possible, want to get that glimpse into who you really are. So you want to make sure that in the online unofficial spaces, so whether it's Slack, whether it's intranet forums, whether it's your LinkedIn presence, you might have a YouTube like me, whether it's attending staff socials, that you are speaking in a way that backs up everything that you said in the official channels or where comms have taken the narrative forward for you. And so many leaders don't seize this opportunity. I think especially when you're going through complex change, so whether it's mergers and acquisitions, ERP, you want to make sure that you are bringing your voice to the spaces that really matter. And I talk about the space that really matter because there are studies done that show, number one, that people don't trust execs if they don't have a social media presence. And number two, the fact that what's heard through unofficial channels is trusted and matters more than what's said through official channels. So, bearing both of those in mind, you want to make sure that you are using your voice and your presence in a way that matters by showing up confidently in unofficial spaces. And this leads me to my next point. Number three is about having confidence. If you are who you say you are, you've got your actions that match your words, you've got a compelling way of communicating, but there's this quiet or loud insecurity about you. It undermines everything that you are doing. And I run into a number of leaders who have this issue. Maybe it's because they've had a misstep before. Maybe it's because the breadth of the complexity and the change that they're going through is overwhelming. And if that's the case, I would say number one, it's just to become aware of that, because oftentimes we want to talk ourselves up and we want to fake it until we make it. But I'm not sure I'm a massive believer in the faking it until you make it. I think there's power in calling out what we're feeling as what we're feeling, i.e., I'm a leader that's leading in an organization that's going through a number of mergers and acquisitions, or I'm a leader who's spearheading this ERP global change. And this makes me nervous. I'm very much out of my comfort zone. And communicating that with people doesn't make you any less. If anything, it makes you more human, it makes you easier to connect with, and it helps the people who are watching you and who are following you and who are seeing you as a role model to see that actually, do you know, it's also okay for me to feel these feelings. You can be competent and unconfident. The two are not mutually exclusive. You can have all the skills and experience and knowledge to be perfectly placed to lead and believe that you don't. The two can coexist. And oftentimes I feel like people, society has made us believe that we have to cancel. It's either or, you know, we exist in these extremes, especially during complex change, continuous change. What I'm seeing is those extremes matter less and less. What I'm seeing more and more is that these extremes are coexisting just because of the nature of the change and the world that we are going through. Now, the final point that I want to make is about bringing people along with you and setting up others for success. I think the great thing about a leader who is a cut above the rest is that they are not holding on to their leadership as something that nobody can step into. You want to make sure that you are actively, proactively preparing others to take your place. The joy and the ultimate reflection of an amazing leader is the fact that they are able to equip and support and empower a number of people to come after them, or a number of people to outgrow their leadership, go elsewhere and lead other people. You want to be creating a living legacy. And the foundation of that is by taking all these steps that I've mentioned. And then the kind of cherry on top, or some might see it as the actual foundations. I think it can be both on that, what I was saying about extremes coexisting. So the cherry on top and the absolute roots and foundation is that you are creating living legacies. You are creating people and equipping and empowering others to be able to do what you do even better. So that's been my summary today of what makes really great leaders. Hope you've taken something from me. If you are a leader that's leading through complex change and you'd want to have a one-to-one conversation about the best way you can set yourself up to do it, then you can find my contact details below. Otherwise, have an amazing day and take care of yourself. Bye. Hello and welcome to the Growth Hub. My name is Nisi Ozigbo, and this is a space where we help leaders connect who they are to how they lead. Today, I want to talk about the number one quality that separates the great leaders from the rest. And this type of leader that I'm talking about, you are someone who is leading complex change. You might be in a global organization going through a number of mergers and acquisitions. You might be leading a global ERP change, and you're wondering, how do I show up as my best self to be able to not just lead these people, but to create other great leaders and to have a foundation of trust and support and magnetic energy that keeps things going, because people can trust I am who I say I am and I don't just kind of blow around, wherever the wind blows. Even though there is continuous change going on, it's my firm belief that you as a leader need to be that constant. You need to be that anchor. And in order to do that, you need to pour into yourself and understand what your strengths and what your weaknesses are and how you can build yourself up to rise to the challenge, whatever that challenge may be.